I don't like that. I could hear myself. That was throwing me off. Hello, hi. How is everyone? It is Friday, my final Friday day before I go on my break, and it is time to talk science. Oh, and we had an autoclave right away. I knew that was gonna happen. I have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of autoclaving. It didn't go though, so that's okay. Oh, the autoclave is not aligned properly on this screen. Oh gosh, hold on. It's aligned on the mainstream, but not on the vertical format. Oops. That's okay. Anyway, hello. Thank you for checking in, Tax Auditor. Thank you for checking in, Gren. Thank you for checking in, Ichiro. Thank you for checking in, Newblit. Thank you for checking in, Weetabix. Thank you for checking in, Possum. And goodbye, Tax Auditor. What is an autoclave? Oh, you see. In our community, we have an autoclave, which is a machine you use normally to sterilize equipment. It reaches super high pressures. It's like 121 C, which is like 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's supposed to destroy all bacteria. And as a bacteria, they like to destroy me. And it's a chance if it goes or not. And that one went. So congrats, Tax Auditor, on making it successfully go. Thank you. It's like a clave, but more automatic. Yeah, it's a Gamba. Why does the autoclave have funny arms on the door? I based it off I used certain reference pictures of autoclaves, and some of them had like the funny little like spinny things on the front of the door instead of the standard what is it, open close like a fridge, and I thought it looked a little cooler. What would the opposite of the autoclave be as a redeem thing? Like, well, if you don't want to destroy me, I really want to do something that is like you give me, I get a little bottle of LB medium. Like you give me some like cell culture medium, and the bottle will be there, and the bottles could like stack up depending on how many you give me. That one's in the works, and it would be like eventually, if you keep doing it, you would have like a little mountain of LB medium bottles. But that's not. I'm hoping there's a whole bunch that I have currently working. I'm trying to see if I can work on some of them while I'm in my summer break. But it's always a little harder to work when I am not at my main computer. Working on a laptop without like a nice desk, it's just not as like. It's never ever as conducive as like the desk, 2 monitors, and all my equipment, and kind of just being alone. I also don't like, I'm not alone when I'm traveling, and so I can't just sit down and focus. Anyway, thank you and hello everyone. Not enough display. Exactly, you need more. Every single monitor added increases my productivity by like 25%. I'm even considering the fact I don't think I have enough displays now. I think 2 is not enough. I'm thinking I should get a 3rd one. If I could like have my OBS, like especially when I'm streaming, if I could have my OBS, and I also have my chat on another one, and then I also like to look up things easily, but then there's not enough when you have only 2. It gets really hard to also share things. I have a laptop and one it is kind of a display addiction. A laptop and 1 monitor is pretty good. I could always set up my laptop with it, but because my laptop that I use for traveling purposes is like I use a MacBook, but it's always kind of a pain to set up like a MacBook, and like I don't have enough cables. My cable management is also bad. Thank you for checking in, the T-Hero. Thank you, and hello. Today's stream is talking about what I love about science, but it's pretty lax, and I'd love to hear also if you guys are any. I know I have a lot of science people in here, of science of all different kinds of fields and interests and also like education. I'd love to hear what people also think about what they love about science. I am talking mostly generally. There's some parts where I'll talk. I don't have a PowerPoint. It's just me yapping right in front of your face. Just finish your thesis. What was your thesis about? Congrats also. That's a big deal. I remember when I dropped out of my PhD before I could even start thinking about a thesis. But the thing we had to work on to get into PhD candidacy, which is kind of like the step to say, hey, you are a PhD student now, not just like a random grad student. You kind of have to get the basis of what your thesis is going to be like. And I found that writing was pretty fun. I wish I could have wrote more of it. If grad school is just writing and not actually having to do the experiments, I would have enjoyed it more. AI stuff? Oh, fun! Awesome. AI stuff is like the popular thing. I feel like I've heard a lot of people talk about how they're studying AI things now. It's so bigly. What I hate about it is I had to slightly modify data a bit so it looked better. Okay, that doesn't sound very ethical, but I also kind of get it. I've heard a lot of people say they had to do something kind of similar for their thesis, and it's not even like they wanted to do it. It was like recommended a bit by their like committee. It's not exactly cheating or like plagiarizing data, but they would always say like, can you like format it a bit differently so it's packaged and looks a little nicer, which isn't the most ethical, but then also no one really cares. Mostly if it's just a thesis that ends up not also getting like a lot of recognition. I'm coming for whoever snitches. Okay, don't you guys in here, you can't snitch on tax auditor. You can't. It's okay. This is a place of trust. We are. No one's gonna snitch. No snitches here. Okay. So when I would think about science, I had a stream like now a few months ago that I talked about all the things I didn't like about science, and I called it what I hate about science, and it actually, I talked mostly about things like I didn't like how science has so much bureaucratic red tape. I don't like how science is so difficult to work in, and there's a lot of like old academia culture like that's so pervasive and hard to get away from, especially when you're starting out in grad school. Like, you're likely going to work with a mentor who is a bit old and stuck in their ways. This isn't everyone's experience, but it was literally my experience over and over and over and over and over. Can we blackmail the auditor to get out of our next tax return? No blackmail, no snitching, no nothing. We can't blackmail and we can't snitch. Like, one experiment lasted an hour, and then there was some unexplained pattern I had to remove and like to modify to look like the rest. That's what I usually hear. Like, oftentimes, I'm obviously not my friends I'm talking about. They're in like more of the biomedical spaces, but it's more like they did an experiment, and the experiment kind of suggests something that they don't really like. That it's kind of against what they're looking for in their papers, like main guidelines. So their committee usually says, "Hey, maybe you don't include that experiment and make your life a little easier." And in a way, it's not great. Like, you should show that kind of stuff because, I mean, it's kind of an important part. But then also these people they want to get out of here, and the committee doesn't want to work on that. They've got other things to do. This takes up a lot of time, and also they don't want, just go, just leave, just get your degree and get out of here, get your thesis done and get out of here. It's that kind of feeling. There's no way I'm repeating this again due to some random errors where the paragraph at the end was acting weird, so I cut it out. There's a lot of stuff like that. It's kind of the part I don't like about that goes with I said no hate talk, but then I also say I don't like that part about science. I wish it was more encouraged in ways to show negative results and things that didn't work. But so oftentimes your editors are going to tell you you should probably be more focused. That's like the word they love to use. You should be more in scope. More in scope is also another one. Oh, thank you for in Quiet Ninja. Hello. To be in scope. And then if that experiment's not showing something in scope, they're going to say, nix it. Okay, I talked more. It's like 20 minutes into a stream, and I've talked mostly about what I don't like about science. But I do like science. I feel like I need to make a video and stream subsequently of what I like about science, because I just have the video on my channel that just says what I hate about science. So we have to balance this out. So I was really into science mostly as a kid, because I feel like there was always, what I loved to see was the fact there's just so many weird things in this world. This world is full of unknown like mysteries, and like there's like a level of childhood wonder that comes with it of like, I don't know anything at all. But then you realize like that still carries over as you get older and older and older, where you still don't know really anything at all. You get to learn some answers to some basic things. Like I used to be like a child, try to think about what is even like the human body. I didn't really get what was going on. I didn't really understand like what are organs made out of. It's like simple questions, kind of like the meme question of when people go like, I don't know what wind is and I'm too scared to ask at this point. But except I wasn't too scared to ask. I would just go like, so what is the body? And I would really annoy my mom. I would annoy my mom a lot because she had no idea what the answers to these things were. I would say, so mom, like we're made of, like we have blood in our body, but like what is blood even? And as she didn't have really like much science education, she'd go like, I don't know, like water and red blood cells. And then I'd go, okay, well, like what's a red blood cell? I need to know more about what's going on. But what are tortilla chips made of? It's that level of questioning. It's just trying to figure out what the heck is what are these things made out of? Does anybody know? So when I got access to the internet as a child, which I was probably too young to get access to, I would just spend a lot of time Googling questions to these things. Anything that plagued my mind, I would go, does anyone know what this is? Can someone explain to me what this is? Unfortunately, I can't say. I got things to do. Bye. Oh, no problem. See you again. 7-stream streak. Hello, Peppermint. Nice to see you. And goodbye, Gran. Goodbye. I would find out so many things, but it was also really hard to understand. When you use Google as a child, and you know, websites aren't as in-depth, like they weren't as in-depth as they were back then. A lot of things were like harder to understand because things were either just like giant encyclopedias, like Wikipedia level like knowledge like dumps on you, or there was like, it was super simplified for children. It felt like there was like not a great in between of science education when I was growing up on the internet. And so I would just do my best trying to read through Wikipedia and go like, what is this? That was like my literal hobby was reading Wikipedia articles about different science topics and different questions I had, and like reading them like all the way from the top to the bottom. Would you say that your ability to Google answers kept you from becoming a crazy mad scientist that had to find out things themselves? I think I always knew deep down that I'd never wanted to be the one to find things out. You know, I don't like, this might be the thing that makes me a little different from other scientists, but I was never very interested, and I tried to like convince myself I was interested, which is why I went to grad school and did my PhD in lab research and all that. I was never really interested in doing the things myself. The thing I was the most interested in was like learning and finding answers and kind of putting together what other people did. I was always like really keenly aware that science information was poorly organized, and that's to this day it's still very poorly organized, and just that's why I have the job that I do, which is a cancer science writer, where I take all the papers and publications that we have online about cancer research and put them all together for people to easily access. I get to have my job because of how poorly organized research is. Even as a kid, I thought, like, man, why is it so hard to find information on these things? Why is like everything so separated? I think things are even like more separate. What do you do? I'm a cancer science writer. I spend all day reading all the different papers that come out about cancer science research, and then I write up the summaries and relevant information. And by relevant information, I mean like, what's this cancer gene? What's this cancer mutation? What's this therapeutic do? What's this therapeutic for? How does this therapeutic work? How does this mutation work? What kind of genes are these? What kind of things are this? And I write that all up for my organization, who has a website, and we license that information out to academics, clinicians, researchers, corporations, pharmaceutical companies, etc., etc. And we make like millions of dollars. And that's like shows you like how important this kind of information is. And like these people throw millions of dollars, like we get like thousands of dollars from people wanting our information. Because even though it's publicly available, these people can do it themselves realistically, but it's like not worth. So they'd rather throw thousands of dollars to get access to a database that gives this information to them. Do you have to access some platform and organize it? I mean, we just have access. Like my job just uses whatever is on the internet. If it's on the internet and there's like a literature related to it, an abstract related to it, I take it and then I write up about it. About to date myself, the college library is my source of scientific knowledge. I'd go there with her, help her find books, and I'd read them too. That's awesome. I really, really wanted to be like a library person. But I was so far, like when I went to the library that was near my house growing up, it was like really limited on like scientific knowledge. I was recommended by like a teacher to go to like a university library, but I needed to like take a bus to get there. My mom wouldn't have time because she would like work, and she was like single mom working. And so I would just like use the internet. I'm just bad at remembering specific enough to communicate what I know effectively. So I know a subject pretty well, but the verbiage to quickly prove it doesn't come to me. I kind of get that too. Like, I know, I always feel like, oh gosh, I feel like a fraud. I feel like a poser, or what do they call it? I feel like a LARPer, that I don't know science very well, because I sometimes like I have the knowledge in my head, but then I can't like exactly put it into words. It happens to me a lot, but then I'm like, I used to get much more insecure about that, but nowadays I feel like, no, that's just my brain. Brain doesn't just work that fast. I like to always double check what I'm saying also, usually through Googling. If you ever see me, like, if you like see me when I'm like in real life, if I say something, I'm usually Googling it just to make sure, like, okay, I do in fact know, like, I'm not spewing misinformation. I just always like to double check myself, because there also might be new information, and I like to make sure I'm not telling you something outdated. Did you stumble upon a study about the cure for cancer government destroyed yet? That doesn't exist. I know it's a joke, but like, there's no such thing as a cure for cancer. Cancer is a bunch of diseases. We can't. I'm not gonna go into the rabbit hole. But cancer is too many different diseases that all work super differently, and there's no such thing as like a cure. I usually stop myself mid-sentence to recollect if what I'm saying is true or not. I completely get that. I usually I think it's always more fun to have certain discussions online. I like to write a whole bunch of paragraphs and all of that. And I always like searching things up mid-paragraph essay writing to like double check the veracity of my statements. I'm guilty of that too. I'll Google something up right in the middle of teaching if I need to confirm something. It's just like, it's part of my nature. And it's sometimes I used to think, oh gosh, am I just dumb? Am I just a dummy that doesn't know anything? But no, that's just like, it's just how I function. So can we make super cure that cures all cancers in 1 like the 12? No, we can. Unfortunately, it would never work like that, mostly because there's so many different pathways and the pathways interact differently, and you wouldn't want to stop certain pathways because you might promote behaviors that would affect another cancer's treatment. So unfortunately, there's no like super cancer cure in one. The closest to that would probably be chemotherapy, which is just like blasting radiation all at once. So yeah, I was always a super curious kid. And then as I grew up, I thought I'd learn more of the answers of the world. And then I did learn more of the answers of the world. And then I learned it's still super complicated, and there's like no answers for every single thing that I've ever had a question about. Unfortunately, the answers of some things are just not there. This is like especially true when it comes to things like, I really like immunology. And there's so many aspects of immunology we just don't really know about. So many times I'll look up things and I go, oh, I see. We just don't really know what this protein or gene exactly does. But we know it's important in some way, but we just don't know exactly what it does. My job allows me a lot of like this curiosity searching, which I kind of like. I really enjoy that. I have to, like, one of the projects I work on to give some insight is like annotation of the whole human genome, which is like the 40,000 genes all across our genome. Basically all the parts that make us us. And there's that 40,000 different genes and proteins, and it's so much information. And it's always interesting to see, we know how little we know of certain things inside of us. And that's a lot of them. Protein, did you study proteins too? I was a biochemist for my degree. I did a lot of protein research, and I didn't like, it's okay. I know a good bit of proteins, but I think my protein knowledge needs to be expanded upon. I still feel like I'm more of a genomics expert rather than a protein expert. And they're pretty different. And I hesitate to even say I'm a genomics expert, because when I talk to the real genomics experts, they know way, way, way more than me. And I wonder, like, oh my gosh, I don't know how anyone could ever know this information. Single working mom with 2 jobs and 2 questions, and 2 jobs and 2 kids. It's hard to bring up questions. I'm very conscious about wasting people's time. It's honestly a bit debilitating at times, so that's my little anxiety core. I kind of get it. I also don't really like wasting people's time. I am this type of person to often Google things. This has been a problem when it comes to like working in labs at times. Some PIs or the people that run the labs didn't really like this behavior of mine, where I would do so much of like research and Googling by myself. I would, instead of asking them questions and going up to them to talk to them, I often tried my best to figure out and find answers myself. But some PIs didn't like that because they said I'm not doing a good job communicating with them, and they felt like I wasn't being much of a team player. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, that's just who I am. I got my whole genome sequenced a while back. Oh, cool. That's pretty fun. Did you find anything interesting? I guess that's kind of personal. But I hope you didn't find anything like crazy disease related. The fact that consuming more than 50 grams of protein in one meal won't help me is false, right? I think that is yeah, I don't think you can, like, that's a lot of protein. I don't know enough about nutrition, I'll be honest. Nutrition science is like a whole different aspect. You can like know about protein, but protein, I don't know how protein affects like growth, muscle growth. that's up to a what's the real word for a dietitian or a nutritionist? One of those two. One of those is fake, and the other one is like a fake position. I did want to be in food science at one point, but that's also, food science is also different than actual nutrition sciences. Maybe use questions and first thing can offer little bits to go along with it, but I totally get it. Not wanting to waste other people's thing is a difficult personality for me. I think I've gotten a bit better with this. It's just like I realize like it's not, most times people are not going to be upset and it's not a waste of time. I think about it. I always have to like, when it comes to these negative aspects of me that I'm not happy with, such as like I don't maybe reach out to people enough, I always think about it like, what if I was in that situation and then somebody said, oh, I didn't want to ask you a question because I didn't want to waste your time. And I would go, that's so ridiculous. That's not a waste of time. I just, like, you should ask me questions. So I try to remind myself of that, and it does help. Somehow always looking at things in a mirrored way makes me more cognizant of like, okay, I'm being ridiculous here. But then there are, of course, situations and people who are like, okay, they might actually think it's a waste of time if you talk to them. But then you learn that. You learn that. I have had PIs that it was clear that asking them questions was not the way to go about like talking to them. So like, I also get that. Nothing huge as far as I remember. I don't have a family history to reference, so the sequencing thing sounded like a way to learn a little about that. Ah, that's a good point. Yeah. I always consider I should maybe do something like that myself, because I know like my family medical history is a bit of a question mark. A lot of my family members, I feel like they just like didn't go to the doctor, and I have no idea what could have like happened to them. So they could be like hosting a whole like bunch of random things, and I'd have no idea that's like caused them problems. Tician sounds more professional than ist, so I'm going with dietitian. Let's double check this. Dietitian versus nutritionist. All dietitians are nutritionists, but not all nutritionists are dietitians. Dietitians are regulated, licensed healthcare professionals legally authorized to treat medical conditions via medical nutrition therapy. Okay, dietitian. Tician is the dietitian is the one. Go to a dietitian if you want more information about like how food affects you. Oh my gosh. Off topic, but I saw I've been seeing so many things about peptides lately. We talked about it briefly in one stream, but this craze of like taking random unregulated peptide molecules that are shipped from like random countries and also have very limited human research associated with them, it's like so insane to me. I saw a picture of people in San Francisco and they were saying like, oh, this is the peptide Michelin star restaurant, and they're just taking these random oral biofilms, and I'm like, what is going on? What's happening? I have no idea what's going on here. This doesn't seem very scientific the way they were approaching it. Do whatever, like, I guess if you're interested in that, go on, do that. I just like very much struggle to understand like how valid those scientific like the scientific aspect of those things are. I know that asking a question is not going to waste time, and they'd rather be asked than me get it wrong, though knowing that doesn't really change how I feel. I know. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes the brain just doesn't budge when it comes to that, so I kind of get it. Time to find the dietitian VTuber. I'm sure if you look deep enough in the web, you'll find one. One of my friends' job is to test peptides. Interesting. Say what? Yeah, people are kind of crazy. They were talking... It was a tweet specifically about an oral biofilm peptide that's supposed to be used for regenerative health. And then I was like curious looking into the research on it, and there's just very, very limited research on how it affects humans. and it was question. And it was like trying to be very smart. They posed the peptide consumption as smart because they're like, well, it's a biofilm. It's not gonna go. It's going around the gastric system, so it won't be broken down and it'll actually get to your bloodstream. But then there's really limited data on if the oral biofilm route of peptide actually goes anywhere to be efficacious. I don't know. It seemed like a rich person thing. It seemed like a rich, like, California person thing. There was like a huge lineup for people to take these random peptides. Maybe it's just it's not for me. Be the change you want to see in the world. Get a PhD just to be an extremely niche internet micro celebrity. If you want, be the super niche micro celebrity of dietitian VTubers. I'm sure you would find an audience. I bet you would get a crazy audience if you just talked about like health science, especially in the context of gyms as a cute anime girl. Because there's already like so many internet content creators that do pretty well with that. I'd usually stand still weighing the pros and cons of asking a question, but by the time I decided, the advisor had probably walked away. Oh man, Peppermint, I completely relate. Don't worry. Anyway, I keep getting sidetracked, and I can't. I'm supposed to finish streaming and like I can't have the stream go on too long because of the fact I have to still pack. I'm traveling tomorrow and I haven't packed completely yet. So what else do I like about science? Do I even like science? Yeah. I really enjoy the curiosity aspect. I also just really like reading papers. I don't think that's a surprise given my career. I really, really like reading papers a lot. I think they're so fascinating to kind of read as a narrative. A lot of them are not very well written, but then in my mind, as I'm reading them, I kind of like fix it as I go, and I kind of find that fun as well. Tax evasion VTuber channel. I bet you would have such an audience if you did something about like finances and tax content. Oh, hi, Dr. Echoes. Also, congrats again on the debut in the V theorem. Congrats. That was a fun stream to watch. Was wondering, have you ever talked about the human microbiome project? That's actually something I really, really want to do a stream on, but I have not had the chance to do it yet. I want to do it one of these days. I have like notes and stuff about it too. It's either going to be a stream or a video. I have no idea, but I have like a bunch of notes about it. Was there a specific reason you chose cancer-related research? Did you fall into it? Like, out of all research, why cancer? Well, when I was going through undergrad, I had no idea what kind of research I actually wanted to do. I knew I was in biochemistry, and I really liked immunology, and I liked proteins, and I liked molecular biology. And it was hard because I felt like a lot of my colleagues kind of already knew exactly what field they wanted to go into. There were so many people I knew that I talked to that they were like, I want to get into virology, I want to work on vaccines, I want to work with the specific diseases. It was like a time of trying to figure out, and so I did a bunch of different research projects. My first research project was on sepsis, and then I worked on tuberculosis. I worked on not yeast, but fungal infections in the lung. And then I also worked on fat and aging. So I was kind of like all over the place, but I knew it was always something immunology related that I wanted to work with. And I would have liked to work with bacteria, but it was always difficult to find labs that were open to the two. And I never actually worked in any cancer research labs because cancer research labs were one of the hardest labs to get into. Like, the first hardest was to get into neuroscience labs, but cancer-related labs were really difficult. But I did want to try it out because I thought it'd be interesting. It's like one of the most fascinating diseases. And I do have like a bit of a personal connection. My mom passed away from gastric cancer, like, I guess it's been like 10 years now. But she was diagnosed with gastric cancer when I was in undergrad, and I had to like think about how to like navigate that. And she was like one of my big supporters when it came to like studying a science degree, especially when it comes to like I was gonna be the first in my family to get a degree. So she like really like pushed me to do the work and study science. And so when she did like pass away from cancer right before I graduated, I thought a lot about like, man, I don't even want to do this anymore. But then I decided I should keep studying because she would have wanted that. And then I thankfully, like, after all that, I never did get to go study cancer, but then I eventually had the opportunity to work the job I currently do, which is to work on cancer research, but in the way that I've always wanted to do science work, which is working mostly in the reading part and information dissemination, not assimilation, dissemination. So it's been like a pleasure to do that. And then also now as like a hobby VTuber, I get to like also talk about cancer research and kind of spread that knowledge. So it's super, super like moving for me. I'm happy to do that. I think a lot of people in my field, I think a lot of people in the cancer related fields, they tend to have a pretty personal connection with cancer. Almost everyone like I work with, they all either like knew someone with cancer or they had experiences with cancer before. It's pretty interesting. I think it also has to do with the fact some of these people, they could be working in places that pay quite a lot more, but they choose to work in an organization that has like the mission to help cancer. It's a noble ceremonial on bit seems fitting. Well done for getting through that, especially at such a crucial time. It was very difficult. Yeah, thank you. I think if I didn't have that happen, I probably wouldn't have gone to grad school. I kind of felt like I wanted to go to grad school mostly because I wanted to get a much higher degree just for like my mom's sake. But then I probably would have spent more time not thinking about that. So, you know, it is nice that I got to grad school motivated by that. I didn't end up getting my PhD, but you know, that's a separate story for another time. I've already talked about that story like multiple times. I'm glad though to work in cancer research. The people here, like people in cancer research, are some of the nicest people, and that goes along with what I really love about cancer. You can meet some of the nicest people in science, some of the kindest souls in science. There are obviously some not very nice people, and I mean that's a given. But if you ever go to a conference, like an academic conference, it always is such a lovely time because there's so many nice, super motivated, incredibly intelligent people that are just all around you. You can just make friends with anybody and they will be some of the smartest people ever, and they are so passionate about what they do. I've met some wonderful people, and even in like this VTuber like content creation space, some of the nicest people I've met so far have been like, they're all science STEM VTubers. I'm sure she'd be incredibly proud of you being very inspiring. Just randomly see that through your streams and Discord. Oh, thank you, Peppermint. That's very kind of you to say. I really appreciate that. It's been a while. It's been a decade now. It's crazy. I will say this, it's not gonna be anytime soon. It will likely be in the fall. I do want to try to do maybe not a subathon, but like a donation-a-thon, kind of like 24-hour stream. Maybe on her in November. That's when her birthday was. I think it'd be kind of fun to do something. And we can donate all the proceeds we make, if any at all, into some specific cancer fund. I miss going to conferences and symposiums. I know. I am sad that like I I missed some of the big ones this year because we wanted to make sure other people were able to go, and funding has been kind of tight, so we can't send as many people. So I missed like the giant cancer conferences that I went to last year, and it's so sad because I love going to them. I think the larger ones, they can be very exhausting, but they're so fun. You get to see so many people from all around the world, and I think the fact that it's usually international, it's like so nice. But yeah, I can see like if you don't work in the research field, the fact you can't really go to those that easily is sucky. Can you record them? Record going to a conference? I could. I mean, I don't actually know. It probably depends on like what kind of conference it is. A lot of the stuff that you see though tends to say like, do not distribute, do not distribute, do not distribute. I can probably make certain like, there's probably aspects I could record. If I ever go to one again, I will try to make like a travel vlog in between when I'm actually doing my worky work. A charity stream's a great idea. Maybe Mr. Beast will donate 10k. I don't know if Mr. Beast is gonna see the charity stream, but you know, Mr. Beast, please donate 10k to my future charity stream. Thank you. Passion draws the best out of people. Inspiring when I get the privilege to hear people yap about their area of study and their interests. It is incredibly inspiring. When you get to sit down and to have the privilege to hear, I say the privilege, but it's like conferences are giga expensive. Sometimes I am like floored at how much they are covering. I think when we went to the ASCO conference, which is one of the larger cancer conferences in the world, the registration price was like $1 grand or so, and that's just to get into the conference, and I didn't even like consider like flights and hotels. It's so expensive. Anyway, a privilege, quote unquote, it is to hear people yap. It's wonderful, and I can sit there for hours, and you could just literally sit there for 12 hours and get so much information. I think most researchers would be okay with sharing their researches on a recording and presentation. I think so too. It just depends, I think, on where again the conference and where that researcher is from. For these cancer conferences, a lot of them are representing biopharmaceutical companies, and so these pharmaceutical companies do not want their research to be like shared there's a lot of money. I used to get in trouble just taking pictures because I need to use it for my own research, like with my database work, and they would I would try to take a picture and then they go, excuse me, no photos. I'm like, okay. At the very least, I'm sure I could record the conference floor. Oh, thank you for the hydration. Oh, thank you for the follow, sweetie Saccharine. I think I said this before, but one of my passions is hearing about their people's passions, and hearing about them talk about something they're so devoted to is great experience and eye-opening. It really is. And I don't think that people even have to be necessarily incredibly intelligent. Some of these people, they are not way more smarter than you and I, but they're just so passionate and so deeply involved in their work, and they can just talk on and on and on about what they do, and it's just so refreshing to hear. Passion is just so good. I think if you're passionate about anything, it doesn't even have to be science related, and you could just yap about it. It's a beautiful thing. Everyone should just yap about their passions unabashedly. If you are passionate about something, go talk, yap out loud. Patent and research and protocols, I know it's they are so, but then I look at it, I'm like, buddy, I could just find this online. Why are you so protective? It's literally online. Stop being stop being so rude to me taking a picture. Cards autoclave this. It's kind of crazy. They are so on top of it. Oh, then that reminds me. I remember I took a photo of a poster. And I took a photo of this poster because it was like a knockoff of what my organization does. And it even sounded exactly like the layout was similar, their logo was similar. And I was like, I think these people are like taking our nachos. I think they're reheating our nachos on like cancer like research aggregation. And I took a picture, and then the person the person wasn't anywhere in my sight, but then they saw me take a picture, I guess, from like across the hall, and they were like, hello, do you have any questions? Why are you taking a picture? I was like, oh, no reason. And then I just like quickly walked away. And then I shared that picture with like my org, and they were like, yeah, I think these people are ripping us off. Passion is what drives curiosity. Exactly. You kind of have to be passionate to be curious, because how can you be curious? How can you be curious if you don't care at all? I say curiosity leads to passion, becomes a positive feedback loop. That's also true. I think it's hard. Maybe it's like a chicken egg situation. Like, who knows what came first? You could be very curious, and that curiosity leads to passion, or you're very passionate and that passion leads to being curious about the topic. I don't know. It can both ways sound nice to me. I think maybe they're too intertwined to even like maybe separate. I was talking to someone at work about their hobby. They make gift cards where the little confetti pops out, and it was a really fun and interesting conversation. That sounds so cute. I want to do something like that. Some people take pics to zoom into, but straight up plagiarism caught in 4K with that picture of the poster. It was blowing my mind. I have no idea what happened to it. We're an American organization. This was a different country. And so I have no idea. I don't think we were like, I remember it got brought all the way up to like legal, and then our legal organization was like, I don't think we can do anything technically. So they're just out there plagiarizing us, and there's nothing we can do about it. I hope I can go to a conference one of these days. Travel funding has been so tight as of late, and conferences are not getting any cheaper. I don't get how conferences can be so expensive still in the year 2026 with all these new, like, all this research funding cuts. Hello, what's up? Hello, Lost. How are you? I'm doing good. We're just yapping away over here, having a good old yap stream about anything science related. Other people sharing their science things. Oh, 3 stream streak. Yay, congrats. Thank you for the support for 3 whole streams. Are you traveling for work or fun? There's this one is mostly for fun. I'm just traveling to have a vacation time. I need some time to rest and relax, and I will be out and about. I will still be technically working for some of this though, so it's not completely relaxing, but I will get to be working. I will be at least out of the house. Dormant microbe holiday. I know, I'm gonna be resting and relaxing. Put me away in the deep freezer for about a month or so. Is it like a beach holiday? Not exactly a beach holiday. I think I'm traveling to a different country, but it's not like a beach holiday. It's just like just hanging out. It'll be nice though. I'm excited. It's also going to be nice. I'm going somewhere that has centralized AC, and it's about to be really, really hot where I'm living right now. I don't know if like anyone else lives on the East Coast, but like there's a giga heat wave in the US about to hit. I think it's like almost similar to what's happening in Europe this week. It's gonna be so hot, so I'm kind of glad I'm gonna be out of my apartment by then. I will not be boiling away in the petri dish. The not Doom guy just comes out of nowhere with an autoclave, and it hits. Congrats. 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 On science, I learned to culture HeLa cells earlier. Oh, congrats, Saccharine. Or Sweetie. I think Sweetie sounds kind of cuter. Learn. What kind of work do you do are you a researcher? Are you like working in a lab? That's so fun. I miss parts of cell culture, like cell culturing. But I don't think I would ever work in a lab again. But it is fun. Maybe if it was like low commitment, it would be fun to do things like lab related things on stream. Maybe one of these days in the future. Don't remind me. Are you also gonna be? Are you gonna be in the heat, Ichiro? It's so hot. It's already hot right now. I try not to have the AC on when I stream because I get really distracted by the loud noise, and sometimes the loud like portable AC noises can like leak onto stream. I know people probably would not mind, considering they'd probably prefer that I am cool instead of dying in the heat. But I just turned it off, and I can already feel myself like not. I'm dying. It's not even that hot. It's gonna get like 10 degrees hotter in the US. These gigawatt heats have me worried about the next 10 years of global warming. I know. I was just talking about how I don't think like people can live without an AC soon enough. I know that's like a small issue in terms of everything regarding global warming, but I feel so bad hearing about my friends in Europe and they don't have an AC and they're just like literally suffering in their apartments and houses like with all this heat. There's just nothing to do. Their country's just not built for this kind of global warming. Our societies are not set up for this. Junior specialist, that's I got something stuck in my throat. Junior specialist is awesome. Yay! Looks like things will remain cool for me for the next week at least. Oh, okay, that's good to hear. The heat is just unbearable. It was 34 Celsius at work in England this week, which is like high 90s in Fahrenheit. Yeah, I have friends that are like all over the place in Europe, and they were just telling me like it's in the mid 30 Celsius or like like 30 Celsius, and it's like blowing my mind. And they don't have an AC, and they're just raw dogging the hot weather in their house is not built for this kind of heat. And I'm like, I can't imagine it. I get really hot and I turn on my portable AC when it's like 80 degrees. It's always hot here. Heat wave is just the worst. It's so unbearable. I don't like the heat. It's like a love-hate because summer is so nice. I love taking walks. I love all that, and I prefer it over really gross snowy weather. But also when it gets too hot, I lose it. England doesn't have laws about how hot it can be before you don't have to work. We have a minimum temp, but not a maximum. I think a lot of countries, it's not even just like European, I think a lot of countries are about to start having to understand that heat is a huge thing they need to consider that's outside of just like heating. Like we have so many laws about like it can't be this cold and your apartments need to provide heating in some way. But I think we're also going to need to start considering how do we provide cooling. Cooling is becoming just as important. There's a lot of people that are unfortunately like they're passing away because they can't, they're dying of heat stroke and they don't have access to like any way to cool. When I go around my city and when there's a heat wave and we have cooling centers all over the city, they're like chock full of people because those people don't have like any other way to get away from the heat at home. Like the kids can't handle being like melted in their apartment. I went from living with central AC for the past 20 years in the US to learning there's no built-in AC anywhere here. Oh gosh. I come into the shower and I feel the sweat pooling out every crevice. My room is at 31°C right now in the early. Oh my gosh, it's so nasty and gross. Also, ad break. Heat sickness can be deadly. It's really deadly. I never experienced it until recently, but I was like on the verge of like a heat stroke, I think. And I was like, it's such an awful feeling. Like, you really are like feeling like it feels like something just hits you, and it's so hard to cool down and recover from it as well. It's so much harder to cool someone off than to warm someone up. I agree, it is. You have to do so much to get rid of all that excess heat versus, like, bundle someone up. I recently moved from the southeastern U.S. to Texas, and man, being on a top floor apartment sucks here. Oh, I hear it's the worst. I hear Texas's weather is like unbearable as of like the last few summers. Gambling ad. Oh no, I don't like a gambling ad. There was a car crash on the highway recently, and 2 extra ambulances had to come because of people in the traffic. Oh gosh, that's so sad to hear. I know we're like really far from science, but I think this is also sciencey related. I think, hey, that's what I like about science. I like that you can relate science to a lot of different topics of conversation. Somehow I always make it sciencey related. I think about how a lot of these societal problems you can relate in some way to some scientific study. There's cities I know, it might just be New York City. I know New York City by 2030, they plan on making it mandatory to have AC and cooling units in apartments. And I think that's kind of interesting to see. I know there's a lot of worry about that though, because it's probably going to end up making housing a lot more expensive. And there's also like the drain on like energy grids. Like, that's a lot more electricity going to be used if every New York City apartment has to have some kind of cooling available. But then also, can like we blame people? Like, can we blame that? Like, I feel like it is really expensive, but it's also so necessary. It's so hot on the East Coast, and especially it's not a city that used to get that hot. Talking about heat makes me feel hot, and now my face is like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling the heat. Sorry, I'm drinking my water. Ad break over. Sorry, getting caught in the ad. Sorry. Isn't an increase in temperature dangerous, more dangerous than a decrease in temperature because of enzyme decay? I could be very wrong, but I remember some sort of associated bell curve. Yeah, in a way, like it kind of is. I don't know exactly if that's the exact reason why. This is not my expertise, and I'm kind of curious about why it's more dangerous myself. Let's look it up. This is where the third monitor would be helpful, so I can easily show you, but I can't show you. Regards to heat stroke, but I'll just do the research and then read it out loud to you guys. Yes, enzyme activity. Yeah, I know enzyme activity in general does follow a temperature curve. Yeah, yeah, this is about right. Yeah, you're right. That it makes sense. It's heat stroke is because you're starting to overheat and you're starting to go through some widespread protein denaturation. I hate saying that word. My brain always like messes up. It's very bad, very badly. Yeah, you can't, the proteins lose their shape and you can't reform. Yeah, your proteins are great and you have brain lesions. Yeah, overheating, really bad, you guys. Really bad. Not good for you. Stay cool. Everyone should try to stay cool in this weather, especially if you're in a place that's gonna go through a heat wave. Drink lots of water. Go to get your AC running if you have it, and if you don't have it, make sure you can go to a cooling center. And also, I think a big problem is so many people live alone when it comes to these problems. I personally live alone, and if I went through like heat stroke or something, I feel like nobody would know what's even gone wrong with me. Not for a while, at least. It's an issue with like elderly people, especially. Okay, I said I could only stream for an hour, and then I barely went through anything I love about science. Yeah, growing number of population is choosing to live alone. Living alone, and then it's nice to live alone, but it is like I think about, I have to always consider like, man, I live alone, and then, you know, I just don't have anyone that can check on me. I just have to like make sure I'm taking care of myself. We put a wet flannel on our face and sit in front of a fan. That's good. That's good. I will be turning on the AC after the stream because the room is getting very hot. Does protein does protein breaking down happen to us outside of heat stroke situations? Yeah, it's constantly happening. You're constantly like degrading the misfolded proteins all the time. That's just kind of like how that's normal bodily housekeeping functions. You have like whole systems dedicated to this. We have something called the ubiquitin proteasome system, and so misfolded proteins, they get tagged with ubiquitin, and that's to say destroy this, and then that's fed into the proteasome, and then proteasome chews that up, and then the damage, then that's packaged away, and yeah, that just happens all the time. That's normal. Our proteins also misfold just spontaneously from like normal activity. Peak changes in cell concentration extremes will cause it too. Yeah. There's also diseases that are like implicated in large aggregates of misfolded proteins that just aren't getting like packaged up and disappearing. So things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and like Huntington's, it's like usually involved in brain, like there's aggregates of like misfolded proteins in your brain, and that's pretty bad. And they clump together, and they're pretty toxic to your brain cells. Maybe scatter to your loves about science and Discord throughout your holiday whenever you're bored. I mean, I'll talk about it randomly. There's enough in here to make a video already. That's all I really want. I just wanted to make sure I have enough to yap about a video to edit over the course of the holiday, like a longer form stream highlight video. I've lately been trying to be more mindful about the fact, like every time I stream, I should try to be able, even if I can't get it done fast, I should be able to make a video out of it. Yeah, science is just so cool. There's so many aspects of science I just really, 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 really love. I think the curiosity part will always be a huge thing for me. I just will I can't stop talking about science. It's like, it's a problem. It's a problem maybe for me. I feel like I always have to end up relating things back to science, but that's okay. I think most of the people that tend to know me, like my friends, they know that I can't stop yapping about it. And I appreciate that. I like being that source of information for my non-sciencey friends. Sometimes they will like find papers or like see a news article, and they just like at me and they go, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Can you like explain this some more?" Or, "Hey, do you know more about this? I'd love to learn more about this." Or, "Is this real?" I like being that kind of resource. And I also like I know some people in the Discord also love doing that to me for like, they come to me for that too, and I appreciate that. I love like trying my best to like understand a topic, even if it's not my expertise. I think it's because my friends know that I do a good job researching. And researching is a skill. If you don't know how to, like, a lot of people don't know how to research the information they're looking for like properly. It's hard. It's like really, it's not that simple, especially with how bad Google is nowadays. I can't even use Google that well anymore in my day-to-day job, because it's so poorly like optimized for things like looking for PubMed articles or any kind of research articles. They don't like doesn't do a good job finding anything. Databases are the best friends. Databases are your best friends. And I feel glad that people will still come to me. Like my friends still come to me even in the age of LLMs. Like I know a lot of people nowadays, they just go to like ChatGPT or Claude and then they ask a question and then that's enough for them. But I'm glad I still have friends that come to me to ask for more clarification. Maybe scatter your... no, I read that. We're here because we enjoy your science type. Your problems are print. Thank you, Nico. Oh, thank you, Possum. I find it a privilege to have inquisitive and devoted friends. I know. I'm very glad that my friends who aren't even in science, they're still like... They think a lot. And my friends that are in science, they do send me a lot of things that are INC related, but they like to ask me, what do you think? Or what's that about, huh? And I think that's nice too. I can't use Google for Source Center. I have to input and prompt it to ChatGPT and ask it to send me a link. Google is just so bad. There's so many alternatives now, but I have not really explored that myself. I know people have recommended that one paid Google like search engine, Kagi, not paid, not a sponsorship or anything, but I hear good things about that. But I can't like see myself right now paying for a search engine. Maybe eventually I get to a point. I heard Google is supposed to change to like a completely like AI based search. They mentioned that like last month or something, where everything's gonna be AI like language based querying. Instead of like, you know, you look at like a list of websites and then you search for that, they're gonna just pull like the information you're looking for based on your language-based query. And I don't know how to feel about that. I don't think it would be that good. But people are so obsessed with language-based querying. A Reddit user from 13 years ago is better than Google AI Overview. The Reddit users from 13 years ago, they had all the answers that I'm looking for. I don't know how they knew, but they knew exactly that I was going to be searching 13 years later for this exact information. And I thank them every day. I use AI to answer niche questions I can't find answers to on Reddit. I feel guilty about contributing to the AI problem because of how many natural resources get lost to power, but Google search is not cutting it. I think it's more nuanced. I don't intend on making people feel bad about using AI. That's not my place. And I'm not here for like moral good or bad about like AI usage either, because I'm frankly not enough like well equipped to even talk about things like the environmental usages. I think it's really hard whenever I try to find this information myself. It's really difficult to find like unbiased research that is not like that is simple to understand for me. Different fields of science adds new perspective to it, and I love that aspect of academia science. I love that part of academia science too. It's not as pleasant when I've had examples like when I was in grad school and they would give presentations to my department, and you know the professors from all the different types of research fields would comment about my research, and they would interject with something that's completely unrelated to what I'm talking about, but it's completely related to what they're talking about. And I wouldn't enjoy that aspect too much. But from an outside perspective, when I'm not getting questioned, it is really fun to see all these different like interdisciplinary aspects of science and like different layers of how thinking from this research goes into that research. And it's really fun to see that. It's just not fun when you're the one giving a presentation and being questioned like that in front of like tens of people. If Google is 100% AI, we might need to find a water planet purely for resources. Yeah, I have no idea what their plans are. It still doesn't seem like it's 100% AI just yet, but I don't know if they got backlash on it or not. Oh, Oh, hi, Josem. You're feeling a bit woozy, but not as bad as before. That's good to hear. Glad to hear you're feeling better. I hope you're taking care of yourself. It usually shows up in reviews and meta studies papers, not verbal communication. Not verbal communication. It's a little intimidating. Yeah, I love like reviews and meta studies. You can be so fun to see like all the different aspects of science. But yeah, verbally, it can be a little intimidating. One of these days, I do want to give like more of I want to talk more about interdisciplinary science. There's so much of it. If you ever get into science, you'll learn quickly that like you're never really stuck in one field. You're like taking so many aspects of science from all sorts of different research. When I was working in my project with fat and aging, I had to learn so much about immunology, and so I would go to the immunology department and talk to the immunology experts. They didn't really help that much, but I did go to them, and then I would talk to people about like age in the aging center and learn more about aging. The aging people were really nice. Aging researchers might be the nicest people. Maybe I need to do a tier list of all the nicest departments I knew. Does paper reading get iterative, like you're rereading the same thing over different papers, or are they all pretty diverse? I think it's hard to say. I think they're pretty diverse for the most part, but it depends on what you're looking for. When I read about, let's say, a specific kind of cancer, if I read a lot about KRAS-driven cancers, and you don't need to even know what that means, but KRAS-driven cancers, it's like a very hot topic. It does almost feel a bit iterative, like I'm kind of reading the same thing over and over, but with maybe perhaps a new therapeutic or a new like mode of targeting. It's so, but it can still be pretty diverse. Okay, autoclave. And I just noticed that autoclave doesn't work on my vertical. I'm sorry. Oh, and you got me, Nooblet. You got me. Thank you. 59 times? 59, more than half. We're getting closer and closer. We're inching towards 100. I'm sick of every single device and program having a built-in AI assistant. It just feels so invasive. It's so strange, honestly. I don't really understand why everything has an AI assistant, but I'm guessing there's a market for it. We might not be into it, but I'm guessing someone is into it. Actually, I know for sure people are into it because I've been at work and we get a lot of asks about adding AI assistants or chatbots to our products. People really like chatbots. I don't know how many times we have to get an email about we'd like a chatbot integration of your database. People really want natural language-based querying chatbots rather than searching through a database themselves. And I guess that's unsurprising. I think since so many websites now have it, if you don't have it, it's like they feel like a little off. Like, well, how am I supposed to find the information? You want me to like click around here? People are discovering how to use AI. They overuse since it started an experiment, and so yeah, it's gonna settle. It definitely will settle over time. There's such a push to integrate it everywhere. It's the hotness. It's the big hotness, you know. And people want to like put it into their products because it makes a lot of noise. I'm sure eventually we'll see like, okay, our fridge didn't need AI, but that's, you know, and science is even like that too. Things are like. It's like this in every field. Every time there's some new big buzz, everyone wants to figure out how to integrate it into their own work. And then you might oversee it overuse and then realize, okay, maybe we didn't need to put all our money into this. In fact, maybe it was really a bad idea to put all our money into it. I'm trying to take care of myself. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe I was so focused on schoolwork to the point that I didn't know how exhausted I was when everything was over hit me like truck-kun. Oh, I'm sorry, Josem. Take it easy, okay? Get some rest if you need to. Don't worry about being in the stream or anything. I just want you to take care of yourself. I give it 6 years before Wall-E becomes a reality. I don't think that's gonna happen yet. I love Wally. Off topic. I also want to watch the new Toy Story movie. My brain went into Pixar movies. Has anyone watched it? Is it good? Question mark. I feel like I just want to go see it just cuz. I've heard okay things about it. Maybe I'm just like, I just want to hope that it's good because I like the Toy Story series. And when I rewatched it recently, I was like, wow, the Toy Story series is better than I remember. AI has helped me with some stuff, but I also forget to even try and use it when I'm trying to do stuff it could help with. So my experience has been good, but I forget is this a tool I have access to? Yeah, I am this controversial. I'm of the mind that there are aspects, like there are times when AI is a useful tool. I think a lot of people overuse it and use it unnecessarily. But it is a tool, and there are times when it does, in fact, help. I have to use it in my work when I do large querying of a bunch of guidelines. It really helps going through like information embedded in PDFs. It would take. It's done things that would take me like weeks, and I could do it in like a day or so. So there are times when I concede, and then that helps me get into actual research instead of just spending time dilly-dallying, going through PDFs and copy and pasting and copying and pasting and copying and pasting. I haven't watched the fourth. The Spork being a main character put me off. Okay, I get to Tomoya. How could you do this? It's so rigged. It's actually so rigged today. 60. I think the fourth one was okay. It was very middling. That's why I'm curious how good the fifth one could even be. Considering the trilogy of 1, 2, 3 are just so good. 1, 2, 3 was so good. When I rewatched it, I was amazed at how good it was. Wall-E is one of my favorite movies too. When I rewatched it recently, I think I started to cry like at the ending. I'm easily moved if you haven't been able to tell. I cry very, very easily. One of my goals in life is to live on a mountain where the only way to contact me is a landline. Technology is handy dandy and fantastically fine. I'm done with always being in contact with some kind of network. I kind of get what you mean, Possum. I feel like I'm also sometimes over the fact that I'm always online and connected. The fact that like there's never any way to really disconnect. I know you can just turn off your phone, but it's not the same. I feel like you have to do so much more work to completely disconnect. Also, in 60 years, the population would have doubled at least, and with the exponential nature of tech, maybe 100 years is closer. I think it's 100 years might be more sound. AI helped me with debugging code, so I don't think AI is always bad. I think it's nuanced, but trying to bring up anything nuanced on the internet is very difficult. So I always hesitate completely to talk about AI because so many people online think of things like completely black and white when I think it's never black and white. Hi, Tomoya. Hello. Only 7 more times to go. Please don't judge me. I hate the meme as well. Listen, I am not a 6'7". I'm not a 6'7" hater. I want the kids to 6'7" to their heart's content, but I don't even think the kids are doing that anymore. I think the kids are way over 6'7"ing. Thank you for the hydration. Most things are great. They are, but I think the internet makes it easier to push things into a black and white perspective, mostly because it promotes engagement in that way. It's way more like you will get much more engagement if you say something like, this is always bad versus or this is always good versus someone going like, hey, maybe it's more complicated than we think. What's 9 plus 10? Vine Boom. Man, I miss Vines. Is that like, I think that's an old person thing to say, but I did like Vines a lot. I think I was thinking about Vines the other day when I realized how I reference Vines so often still. How were Vines so good? But that's, I don't want to judge TikToks because I don't think I watch enough TikToks to even make a credible statement. But why don't TikToks have that kind of staying power? Stuff that could be seen as binary because the political and politics is usually binary. I do think there are like, there is an like, I don't know if it's because of politics or politics or the way we discuss politics online is a symptom of this either, but discussing a lot of those things, it's like things are just a lot more extreme now. It's everyone's very charged. Everyone's charged in every degree. And this is like, it's not even just politics, just everything. People feel very passionate and charged and stand by very strongly on these loosely held statements they say online. And it's strange. I don't think we always have to be that, like, I know I said passion is good, but I don't think we always have to be incredibly passionate about like opinions we don't really hold that strongly just because we want to make it, I don't know, make a point online. I haven't been seeing these memes. You haven't seen the 6-7 meme? You know, that's kind of amazing if you've never seen the 6-7 meme. I learned that there's rarely an always in bio. There's usually exceptions like this. Oh my goodness, bio is so fascinating when it comes to that. Science is like beautiful in that regard, that it's so much contradictory information can be out there. Something that feels like an always, there can be exceptions, and sometimes the exceptions do really matter, and sometimes the exceptions might not really matter in the majority of cases. You have to be so like careful with your language when it comes to talking about science because of that. Be the 6 to my 7. That is amazing. That is amazing. Salutations to you. You are, wow. It annoys me people adopt political views as inheritance. Like, my parents support this, so I do. I think when, like, and that comes to like anything, like just supporting something because like your parents support it or people around you support it. I get it because like it's one of the biggest influences, but also I need people to kind of think critically, use the brain. Think about why you support it. Think about what that means. Think about the what like opposing factors are. Think about like the nuance related to it. I also think pushing of individualism kind of culture in USA, I think that's also an aspect. I mean, I'm talking when I speak about things on the internet, I am cognizant that I'm looking at things mostly from like a US centric Western point of view. Like, things are very different in other countries, and also this is like a US Western centric like internet point of view. We the people online are not indicative of like what's actually happening outside in the public. People online are like such a different breed compared to your normal everyday average Joe that you pick up off the street. How are you doing, miss? I'm doing great. We're just having a good yap about science and like sciencey things and society and, you know, whatever. How are you doing, 6 to my 7? Need your track. What's your hottest science take? My hottest science take? I gotta be heading out. Have a great vacation, Nico. See you when you get back up. Thank you, Ichiro, for hanging out. Thank you. I'll be back soon enough. What is my hottest science take? It's kind of difficult to even think of one. I feel like there's not a lot of hot takes. My takes are all lukewarm and mediocre. I'm like thinking really hard. I'm digging deep into my brain. Oh, this, I don't even think this is a very hot take. I think the people who work in like science could also agree on this. I think like the people that can do like computational related work and statistical analyses, basically anything like the computer data analysis part of science, I think they're like the backbone of science. Like, it's cool and all to generate like lab data and generate the experimental data, but so much of it is so meaningless if you don't have someone to do the correct data analyses and like figuring out like the statistical significances behind what you're figuring out. I think so. Yeah, they're kind of like the backbone of all of science. Maybe I feel much more strongly about the math people in science nowadays because I work so closely with them. We have so much data in the world right now, and a lot of it's not even like, it's just sitting there because nothing's getting done. Like there's no way to get anything done with it, you know? Science, yay! Can science be hot taken? Is it like takeout food? I think science can be. It's not like takeout food. There is just hot takes, as in like you have a strong opinion about something that might be not as popular. I don't even think my opinion is that unpopular even. And I think that goes along with the underrated part of the industry. I think there's so many people that want to just be the person doing the bench work, and nobody actually wants to be the person in the like very rarely do people want to be the person like doing computer work. I personally like that. I did not want to be the one doing the experimental data collection. I don't care. I also am not a huge like, I didn't really care too much about experimental design either. Hi Vixie, hi, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I feel like teachers are an underappreciated part. They really make or break you in a passion in your passion subject. I could also, yeah, I would, maybe that's the second hot take is like, I think the education, like the teaching aspect is so undervalued when it comes to being like a grad school advisor. So many of these people do not like, their expertise is just in research. They're hired to be researchers, like, and then mentoring feels kind of like it's the second part to what they're doing, and so they don't really have that great of a way to mentor and teach and like guide students, and they suck at it, and then people drop out of science because they hate dealing with this. Characterization is like key in a lot of science right now. I completely agree. It is super key. When I work with the genomics and like data science people, I think about the fact they are sequencing like hundreds of patients of tumors every single week, and we have like a giant cohort of like sequenced tumors. And by sequenced tumors, it means they took part of that patient's tumor and said, these are all the mutations and all the special characteristics about this tumor, and they're all sequenced, but like it's just sitting there, and like you have to go do a lot of work to get something out of it. I feel like people built for data processing, I would lose my mind with the computer work. It's true. I'm not good at it myself, but I have to go like, oh my gosh, I appreciate you. You are amazing. I worked with someone today even, and they like they're trying to figure out how to like automate my job. I'm joking. I'm partly joking, but they want to figure out how they can automate some parts of what I do, like in a data collection way. And it's pretty fascinating seeing like how they can utilize a computer and program things like that. So, you know, good job out there to the programmers. Tell your TAs and prof of teaching you appreciate them. I am so close with my undergraduate research advisor. It's been years like since I've worked with her, but I still tell her every year. She emails like all her alumni that were in her lab, and I tell her every single year, like, you are the best person ever. You were the nicest advisor I ever have. Thank you so much for all you did to help me get into science. And then she's like super kind, and I have to tell her that every single year because she deserves it. Computer Siri, error message on their own code, especially. I don't think I can see error messages the same way ever again. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you were traumatized by your programming, Josem. As long as they're not making poorly portrayed graphs or using unnecessary jargon, we like them. We do like them in that case. We don't like jargon. Third hot take of science is like we use too much jargon. But that's not a very hot take. And like, we use too much jargon in writing, but it's hard to simplify it sometimes. So that's why I don't think it's like that hot of a take. Scary. Oh, okay. I think I've spent enough time goofing and gaffing because it's already going to be 9 p.m. and I need to go do some things still. But this was such a fun stream, and I wish I could keep yapping and yapping. And I think I'd want to keep yapping and yapping, but I need to go pack and clean up still. That's so sweet. She sounds like a nice... She was a very, very nice lady. She's like the nicest lady. She's the lady I said that has the hot pink lab coat. Love her. I always liked that she was a woman in science that didn't try to like reduce her femininity at all. Sometimes I feel like people feel a little like... This is like a woman in science thing. Sometimes it feels a bit scary, like to be feminine in such a... When you're in like a male-dominated field. Like all your colleagues are these old, grouchy men. But then you walk in there with your hot pink lab coat and like hot pink glasses. And I love that. I love that about her. It's okay to be like pink and be a scientist. Have fun packing in a holiday. Make sure to relax to the max. I will be relaxing to the max except when I'm editing videos, because I will also be editing videos to release. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. I won't be back until August, but I'll make an announcement on my Discord. So if you want to look at Discord, if you want to make sure to join our Discord, make sure you're there so you get announcements about that. I'll also do it on Twitter too, so don't worry. I would like a hot pink lab coat. Everyone should have a cute lab coat. I think it was so nice. I really want one. Anyway, I will still be on Discord and social media, and I'll also still be releasing videos, but no streams. But thank you for hanging out. I'll see you guys later. Bye, 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 bye. Lisa, you were joining. Yeah, of course. Thank you for stopping by, everyone. Okay, I'll see you. Bye.